Selamat sore semua.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Kepada saudara dari Korea,
To my brothers and sisters from Korea,
annyeonghaseyo.
as he said.
Pertama kali saya ketemu dengan John hari ini.
So it's the first time I've met John today.
Kepada semua rekan-rekan gembala, hamba-hamba Tuhan,
And to all the pastors that are here,
saya sangat menghormati untuk kehadiran saudara semuanya.
I am so grateful and honored for your presence here.
Karena saya tahu ini waktu yang berharga,
Because I know that this is a precious time.
banyak pekerjaan, tugas, tanggung jawab saudara sebagai gembala.
And as pastors, you have a lot of responsibilities and work to do.
Tapi mau luangkan waktu untuk kita duduk bersama-sama.
But you have given us this time to sit down together.
Maka saya sangat menghormati.
So I really appreciate and I really honor that.
Ya. Apa yang kita akan bahas hari ini dengan kata home?
What we are going to discuss today is the word home.
There is no place like home.
Tidak ada tempat seperti rumah tempat tinggal.
Ini untuk Australia pertama kali, saudara.
For Australia, this is the first time.
Tahun 70-an Tuhan memberikan saya visi ini.
Back in the 70s, God gave me this vision,
Rumah.
a house,
Home.
home.
Ya. Saudara, lalu home ini pertama diadakan di Surabaya berapa tahun yang lalu.
So we first created this home in Surabaya a few years ago.
Dan sudah 5 kali ada acara seperti ini di Surabaya.
And we've had seminars like this 5 times in Surabaya.
Ada beberapa kota di Indonesia seperti Malang, Makassar, Balikpapan.
And we've had these gatherings in many other cities in Indonesia,
Di Amerika berapa kota, di Eropa juga.
a few cities in America and also in Europe.
Ya, di Korea kami di Seoul, di Daegu ada acara yang sama home.
And we've had these seminars home in Korea as well.
Saya bersyukur bahwa banyak orang mulai mengerti tentang home ini.
And I am so grateful that a lot of people are starting to understand the meaning of home.
Akhirnya hari ini diadakan di Sydney.
So today we have this opportunity in Sydney.
Nah, kita kan belajar tentang home ini.
So let's learn about home.
Pernahkah saudara menyadari
Have you ever realized
bahwa yang sangat penting dalam hidup adalah home?
that the most important thing in life is a home?
Ya, saya menanyakan pada berapa orang.
So I asked quite a few
Banyak
people,
orang, ya, banyak
quite a
orang.
few people,
Apa sih yang paling penting dalam hidup ini?
what is the most important thing in life?
Orang jawab pertama kesehatan.
And some people say it's health.
Oke, saya kumpulkan kesehatan.
So I gathered the answers. Health.
Ada yang berkata insurance.
Some say insurance.
Oke, saya kumpulkan lagi.
I said, all right.
Ada yang berkata pendidikan.
And some say education.
Ya, ada yang berkata tentang uang
And some say money.
dan banyak lagi.
And many other different answers.
Akhirnya saya kumpulkan semuanya itu.
So I gathered those answers.
Apapun yang kita kerjakan, saudara,
Whatever we do,
pasti pada akhir dari semua kegiatan kita harus pulang.
in the end of all our activities, we have to go home.
Renungkan. Apapun yang kita buat.
Have a think about that. Whatever you do, wherever you go.
Saudara ikut seminar,
If you go to a seminar,
saudara ikut retreat,
if you go to a retreat,
saudara pergi ke cruise,
if you go on a cruise,
holiday kemana saja,
if you go on a holiday, wherever you
ke
go,
sekolah,
to school,
pergi kerja,
you go to work,
ikut kebaktian KKR yang luar
you
biasa.
go to great revival meetings.
Semua itu harus diakhiri dengan kata pulang.
At the
Home.
end of that, you will go home.
Dalam bahasa Inggris bagus ada 2 kata ini, a house dan a home.
In English, you have the words house and home.
Dalam bahasa Indonesia sulit diterjemahkan kata home itu.
In Indonesian, it's difficult to translate home, the
Yeah.
word home.
Ada banyak yang mengatakan ini itu, silakan.
A lot of people say it differently,
Tapi saya mau katakan begini,
but I want to tell you this meaning.
a house
Sebuah rumah,
itu bisa dibangun dengan uang.
a house can be built with money.
Renungkan ini.
Have a think about that.
Orang kaya
A rich person
panggil arsitek, panggil tukang gambar, panggil developer,
calls the architects and the developers,
minta bangunan model rumah seperti ini.
and they ask for a specific model of a house.
Tergantung uangnya. Jadi a house bisa dibangun dengan uang.
So a house can be built with money.
Setuju saya bilang ini, saudara?
Do you agree with me?
Tapi a home
But a home,
nggak bisa dibangun dengan uang.
you cannot build that with money.
A home itu suasananya.
A home is the atmosphere in a house.
Orang kaya
A rich person
memikirkan sekolah pendidikan buat anak-anaknya
thinks about education for their children
karena uangnya banyak.
because they have a lot of money.
Oh, cari sekolah yang paling bagus.
So they look for the best schools,
Pilihkan guru-guru yang paling bagus.
looking for the best teachers.
Tapi kalau hampir tiap malam papa mama bertengkar,
But if nearly every night the mother and the father are fighting with each other,
saya tanya, bisakah anak-anak itu jadi pinter walaupun disekolahkan yang terbaik?
I ask you whether the children will really become bright even though they have good schools.
Jawab. Cepat jawab. Bisa nggak anak-anak itu pinter kalau hampir tiap malam papa mamanya bertengkar?
Will they learn a lot if their parents are fighting every night?
Setiap kali mereka mau tidur, mereka takut. Mereka mikir, bertengkar lagi nggak papa mama?
Every night when they're going to bed, they have fear, will my parents be fighting again?
Anak yang kurang tidur pada waktu malam,
And a child who doesn't sleep enough at night,
bangun pagi mereka bisa belajar dengan baik nggak di sekolah?
in the morning when they wake up, can they really study?
Saudara boleh memakai semua bentuk food supplement, kangen water atau apa untuk hidup sehat.
You can use all the food supplements and every other vitamins or whatever it is to build health.
Kalau rumah saudara bukan a home,
But if your house is not a home,
bisakah hidup sehat itu terjamin?
will you have a healthy life?
Kalau tiap mau pulang ke rumah,
If every time you're about to go home to your house,
saudara mikir, sudah tidur istriku sudah tidur atau belum ya?
you're wondering, oh, I wonder if my wife is already asleep.
Aneh bukan?
That's a funny sort of thought that you have to have.
Kenapa mau pulang ke rumah mikir salah satu sudah tidur dulu atau belum?
Why do they need to think and wonder whether hopefully the partner is asleep by the time they get home?
Ayo, kenapa mau pulang kok mikir yang satu sudah tidur atau belum?
Why is that thought coming in?
Ayo. Ribut nanti kalau pulang ke rumah.
Because
Ngajak bertengkar.
they don't want to have fights when they get home.
Saudara, rumah, home kita sangat mutlak, bukan cuma penting.
So a home is absolutely important.
Wah, terjemahan bagus. Bukan kesehatan, bukan insurance, bukan pendidikan.
It's not health, not insurance, not education,
Suasana rumah.
but the atmosphere of a home.
Saya ulangi lagi, kalau a house bisa dibangun dengan duit,
If a house can be built with money,
tapi a home hanya bisa dibangun oleh keharmonisan papa mama.
a home can only be built by the harmony between the father and a mother.
Alkitab adalah buku yang luar biasa.
The Bible is an amazing book.
Saya akan mulai dengan Ibrani 13 ayat 4.
So I'm going to start with Hebrews 13,
13 ayat 4.
verse 4.
Negara mana saja di mana kita pernah tinggal atau kita pernah tahu, negara apa saja,
Whatever country that we know or we've stayed,
mungkin nggak pemerintahnya mengadakan sensus tempat tidur?
will a government ever do a census about beds?
Mungkin nggak. Kalau sampai ada pemerintah membuat sensus tempat tidur, ini pemerintah nganggur betul, saudara.
If a government is trying to figure out how many beds there are,
Ya,
they have
how about the bed? Ya, apa saja tentang tempat tidur kita?
what beds we have. That's they don't have enough to do,
Kita pasti akan tersinggung, saudara.
and we'd be really upset
Sebab tempat tidur kita itu sangat private.
because our beds are private.
Privasi sekali, betul tidak? Maka itu orang lain tidak boleh ikut campur.
So we don't want people to be involved in that.
Tetapi Papa di sorga ternyata mensensus tempat tidur pernikahan kita.
But the Father in heaven actually does a census on our marriage bed.
Buat dia bukan deposito kita tinggal berapa, itu nggak diurus oleh surga.
For him, it's not important how much money you have.
Dia nggak ngurus rumah kita di daerah double B atau di daerah yang jauh Penrith sana, nggak diurus
He
itu.
doesn't care whether your house is in Double Bay or way away in Penrith.
Dia nggak ngurus anak-anak kita sekolah di mana, dia nggak ngurus, itu urusan kita.
He doesn't really care where we put our kids to school. That's our business.
Tapi yang dia urus tempat tidur kita.
But God cares about our marriage bed.
Nah, dalam bahasa Indonesia nggak ada marriage bed, hanya tempat tidur saja.
In the Indonesian, it's just bed.
Tapi bahasa Inggris itu the marriage bed.
But in
Betul.
English, it says the marriage bed.
Ada yang bawa bahasa Korea, saya ingin tahu in Korean. Ada kata tempat tidur nggak? Suami istri tidak untuk Korean.
Does anybody got a Korean Bible, and does it talk about a marriage bed, or does it talk about just a
Bahasa
bed?
Korea, tolong, ada kata itu? Nggak ada.
So
Oke,
not-
berarti
not
sama
in
Indonesia kalau
So it's
begitu.
the same as Indonesian.
Oke, silakan dibaca, John.
So Hebrews 13 verse 4 says, marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexual immorality.
Mari kita lihat dalam hukum perjanjian lama.
So let's have a look in the Old Testament law.
Setiap kali Yahweh Tuhan hadir,
Every time that Yahweh appears,
dia pesan apa kepada orang-orang di situ?
what is his message to the people?
Selalu tiap kali dia hadir, dia pasti ngomong satu kalimat.
Every time God is present, he always speaks this one sentence.
Tempat ini apa?
This place
Kudus.
is holy.
Setiap kali Papa hadir, dia pasti berkata tempat ini kudus.
Time the Father is present, he always says, this place is holy.
Akan ada berapa kejadian, lepaskan sepatumu, tempat ini kudus.
And in a few verses, he actually says, take off your shoes because this place is holy.
Saudara perhatikan,
So if you have a look at this,
satu-satunya ayat di perjanjian baru.
the only verse in the New Testament,
Saya ulangi lagi, saudara.
I'll repeat that,
Satu-satunya tempat di perjanjian baru
the only verse in the New Testament
yang berkata tempat ini kudus,
that says this place is holy
hanya Ibrani 13 ayat 4.
is only Hebrews 13 verse 4.
Maka itu dipesan, jangan kau najiskan tempat tidur suami istri ini.
And that's why he says you must keep the marriage bed pure.
Lalu apa artinya dia pesan tempat tidur pernikahan kita harus tetap kudus?
So what does it mean when God says you must keep the marriage bed pure?
Artinya Papa kita hadir di situ.
It means that God is present there.
Dia tidak di dalam seluruh perjanjian baru tidak dikatakan aku hadir di mimbar gereja. Tidak.
It never says in the whole of the New Testament that I am present on the platform.
Catat itu baik-baik.
So you need to write that down.
Dia tidak berkata tempat doa itu kudus, kebaktian ini kudus. Tidak.
He never says that prayer meeting or that service is holy.
Dia bilang tempat tidur pernikahanmu yang harus kamu jaga untuk tetap kudus.
But God says that is your marriage bed that you must keep pure.
Jangan ada persundalan perjinan di situ.
Let there be no adultery there.
Artinya begini,
This is what it means.
karena saudara mungkin terlalu sibuk sampai 3 bulan gak sempat cuci spray misalnya.
Because you've been so busy. So let's just take an example, an extreme example that you never wash your sheets for 3 months.
Bukan itu.
That's not what it means.
Yang membuat Tuhan tidak hadir ketika kita suami istri tidak saling setia lagi.
What makes God not present is when us husband and wife are not faithful to each other.
Para gembala,
So to the pastors,
untuk mengetahui bagaimana keadaan jemaat kita,
to know the condition of your people,
jangan dilihat waktu mereka duduk suami istri berjajaran di dalam gereja. Jangan.
don't look at the husband and wife when they're sitting together in church.
Setuju saya ngomong ini?
Do you agree with me?
Walaupun duduk berdua, senyum kiri, senyum kanan.
Even though they're sitting together and smiling to everybody,
Kita nggak tahu mereka dua di tempat tidur ngapain.
we don't know what they are doing on their marriage bed.
Setuju?
Do you agree?
Maka itu tempat yang paling kudus justru di tempat tidur pernikahan kita.
So the marriage bed is the most holy place.
Ternyata tempat tidur juga itu akan berbicara kepada kita suami istri bagaimana kondisi kita.
Actually, the marriage bed will talk to us, husband and wife, about our condition.
Seandainya tempat tidur pernikahan kita bisa ngomong, maka para gembala harus selalu ngomong dengan tempat tidur mereka.
If only the marriage bed could speak, the pastors should really speak to the beds.
Saya tanya begini,
I want to give you a question.
kalau tempat tidur sepi, thank you. Kalau tempat tidur suami istri sepi,
If a marriage bed is quiet,
padahal ada dua orang di situ,
even though there's two people on there,
ayo jujur, ini aman atau harmonis atau tidak dua orang ini?
is there harmony there or not?
Ayo. Nah, kalau tempat tidur bisa bicara, kita tanya,
If a bed could speak, we should ask,
tadi malam kamu dengar apa dari mereka dua?
what did you hear from the two of them last night?
Suami istri yang gak harmonis kelihatan dari diskusinya di tempat tidur.
If there is no harmony between husband and wife, you can tell from what they speak about, from the talking on the bed.
Kalau ngomongnya pendek-pendek,
If it's just short bursts of words,
mungkin, enggak. Nggak tahu?
yeah, maybe, yeah, whatever.
Pasti nggak harmonis ini.
There's no harmony between the two.
Saudara yang punya anak pasti tahu hal ini.
If you have children, you will understand this.
Ketika anak-anak punya kamar sendiri,
When the kids have their own rooms,
tapi kalau mereka tahu papa mama lagi di kamar,
but when they know that their parents are in their bedroom
dan di atas tempat tidur,
and on the bed,
dan papa mama hatinya lagi beres,
and there's good relationship between the father and mother,
percayalah anak-anak ikut rame di tempat tidur itu juga.
the kids will come and will be making lots of fuss on the bed.
Karena mereka tahu ada surga di situ.
Because they know that heaven is on the bed.
Karena di mana ada kekudusan di situ ada Tuhan.
Because where there is holiness, purity, God is there.
Ingat papa mama,
Remember, father and mother,
ketika kita lagi nggak beres, nggak ribut, cuma dalam hati saja saling jengkel dua orang ini.
when we have anger or annoyance towards each other,
Walaupun kita di dalam kamar,
even though we're in the same room,
walaupun anak-anak tahu papa mama sedang di atas tempat tidur,
even when the kids know that the mum and dad are on the bed,
percayalah mereka nggak akan berani masuk.
trust me, those kids won't even dare enter.
Anak itu bisa merasa ada yang nggak beres di situ.
The kids will be able to sense that something is not right.
Saya mau tanya, pernah nggak punya pengalaman seperti itu?
I want to ask you, have you ever had that sort of an experience?
Di situ kita harus menjaga tempat tidur pernikahan kita.
That's where we must take serious and keep our marriage bed.
Saya ulangi lagi.
I must repeat this.
Tidak ada tempat lain yang papa pesan untuk dikuduskan kecuali tempat tidur pernikahan kita.
There is no other place that the Father says must be kept holy except for the marriage bed.
Renungkan ini, saudara.
You need to have real think about this.
Ada apa di situ?
What is it with the marriage bed?
Saya berpikir suatu kali,
I was thinking one time,
berarti surga kalah rame dengan tempat tidur kita.
that means that heaven is not as loud, as
Yeah.
great as our marriage bed.
Maka itu papa nggak betah di surga, betahnya di tempat tidur kita.
So the Father doesn't stay in heaven, but He comes to our marriage bed.
Karena dia tahu ada sesuatu yang luar biasa di situ.
Because He knows there is something amazing there.
Dengan kata lain,
In other words,
maka iblis pun membenci tempat tidur itu.
the devil also hates the marriage bed.
Sebab dia tahu,
Because he knows
untuk merusak apa-apa,
to destroy anything,
merusak komunitas,
to destroy a community,
rusaklah tempat tidur papa mamanya.
destroy the marriage bed of the father and mother.
Setuju saya bilang ini, saudara?
Do you agree with me?
Begitu tempat tidur pernikahan kita najiskan, kita rusak,
The minute you make the marriage bed unholy,
maka a home jadi rusak.
a home will be destroyed.
Tiap bangun pagi,
every time you wake up,
itu ditentukan malamnya terjadi apa di tempat tidur itu.
the day is determined by what happened the night before on the bed.
Saya ulangi lagi.
I repeat this.
Yang belum menikah, siap-siap kamu.
Well, whoever hasn't been married yet, just be ready.
Hari yang baru
A new day
harus dimulai dengan yang baik.
must be started well,
Betul?
right?
Kata a new day, hari yang baru,
A new day
harus dimulai dengan baik.
must be started well.
Nah, untuk memulai hari yang baru, untuk memulai hari baru yang baik,
Now, to start a new day well,
dimulai semalam sebelum hari itu tiba.
it starts the night before.
Ada apa kita berdua di situ?
What happens to the two of us here on the bed?
Suasana yang kaku, suasana yang dingin di antara suami istri di tempat tidur.
A cold relationship between husband and wife on the marriage bed.
Kira-kira bangun pagi kita akan buat apa dari kamar itu keluar?
Imagine, what would you do when you wake up and leave the bedroom?
Nggak enak.
You wouldn't have joy.
Membawa kejengkelan yang luar biasa.
There'd be annoyance in your heart.
Anak-anak lagi main di depan, di dalam rumah.
When the kids are playing inside the house,
Karena sudah nggak enak semalamnya kita berdua.
because you already didn't have peace in your heart.
Anak-anak nggak tahu kita lagi apa kemarin semalam itu.
The kids didn't know what was happening last night.
Mereka lagi main enak-enak.
They were just playing around.
Lihat aja kan kita bentar-bentar. Minggir, kenapa main di sini kamu?
And you'll start expressing that anger towards them.
Anak-anak bingung, kenapa ini papa mama?
And the kids are thinking, what's the deal with dad and mum?
Kalau kita pergi kerja,
If we go to work,
baru keluar rumah,
well, just after we've left home,
lihat kucing tetangga berak di halaman, sudah maki-maki dengan kucing itu.
when we see a cat come past, we'll get really angry with them.
Kucing bingung, salah apa aku?
And the cat thinks, what have I done?
Kita naik mobil, dipepet orang, maki-maki sudah.
We go in our car and another car just cuts in front of us and we get really upset.
Masuk ke kantor,
We get to our office,
entah saudara seorang manajer, entah saudara seorang karyawan,
whether you're a manager or just an employee,
maka ketemu siapapun saudara akan muka asam, gak enak lihat orang.
you meet someone that your face is just unhappy.
Setuju saya ngomong ini saudara? Setuju saya ngomong
Do
ini?
you agree with me?
Jadi semua dimulai di tempat tidur.
So it all starts in the marriage bed.
Sorganya memberi satu hal saja untuk menjaga tempat tidur kita tetap kudus.
And heaven gives one thing to keep our marriage bed holy:
Mengampuni.
forgiveness.
Sederhana bukan?
It's simple, right?
Mengampuni.
Forgiveness.
Tapi ternyata ini yang kita jarang lakukan berdua.
But this is something that we often do not do with our partners.
Oke, kita lihat sekarang.
Let's
Efesus
have a
pasal
look.
4
Ephesians 4,
ayat 25. Efesus 4 ayat 25.
Ephesians 4 verse 25.
Maaf, Efesus 4 maksud saya.
Yeah, Ephesians
4. Efesus 4 ayat 25. Ya, oke, silakan dibaca.
Ephesians 4:25. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor,
Ya.
for we are all members of one body.
Ada terjemahan enggak, John? Misalnya New Living Translation. Oke. Ini pakai NIV. Saya kurang suka NIV, sorry. Oh ya, NLT 4:25.
So in the New Living Translation it says, stop telling lies.
Ini bagus.
Let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we are all parts of the same body.
Saya mengambil dulu kata kita ini satu anggota tubuh.
So I'm going to take first the words, we are part of one body.
Itu kan suami istri.
That's husband and wife, right?
Suami kepala, istri tubuh.
Husband as the head, wife as the body.
Nah, dengan konsep itu saya mengambil Efesus 4 pun tentang suami istri.
So I'm taking, with that concept, I'm taking Ephesians 4 verse 25 as relationship between husband and wife.
Anak-anak yang belum menikah, kalian harus simpan kebenaran ini.
Young people, if you are not yet married, you have to capture this truth.
Ada banyak hal bisa menyakiti hati kita.
There is a lot of things that can hurt our feelings.
Betul? Ditipu teman,
Our friends lie to us.
Aduh, sakit sekali bukan?
That hurts.
Difitnah,
People accuse you.
tapi sakit hati yang paling sakit.
But what
Saya nggak
hurts
bahasa
you the
Inggrisnya.
most,
Yang paling sakit,
that really, really hurts you,
ketika yang satu tempat tidur dengan kita bohongin kita, itu sakit, saudara.
when the person who is one bed with us lies to us, that really hurts.
Setuju saya ngomong ini?
Do you agree?
Maka itu Tuhan berkata, jangan berdusta.
That's why God says, do not lie,
Apalagi kepada suami istri.
especially towards your husband or wife.
Buang dusta itu.
So throw away those lies,
Karena kita sama anggota tubuh.
because we are one body.
Ya, saya beri ilustrasi begini.
I'll give you an illustration.
Saudara tahu ada satu syaraf dalam tubuh kita namanya refleks.
There's a reflex reaction in our body.
Mana tahu nggak, saudara?
You know that?
Apa yang terjadi kalau orang itu punya gangguan syaraf refleks?
What happens if someone gets a reflex reaction,
Gangguan.
a disturbance?
Cepat. Ayo, apa yang terjadi kalau orang itu saraf refleksnya terganggu? Nggak ada refleks. Oke, bentuknya seperti apa? Nggak ada refleks.
If you don't have reflex,
Kaki kita ada api.
and
Waktu kita jalan nyentuh api di kaki.
when you walk and you touch fire,
Kalau refleks, tarik bukan? Cepat.
normally your reflex reaction is that you pull your foot away.
Nah, bayangkan kalau ada bagian tubuh yang bohong.
But what would happen if part of your body could lie?
Jadi sampai ke pusat bilang, nggak panas, nggak
So
ada apa-apa.
the message to the head is, no, it's not hot, there's nothing wrong.
Maka jadi sate jempol itu, saudara.
the foot becomes a satay.
Ngerti nggak ilustrasi itu?
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Setiap kali suami istri bohong, dusta,
Every time a husband or a wife lies,
kerusakan terjadi di keluarga itu.
there's destruction in that family.
Rusaknya suami istri,
That destruction in the relationship of a husband and wife,
korban pertama adalah anak-anak.
the first victims are always the kids.
Catat itu.
You need to really understand this.
Saya ingin pesan kepada papa mama.
I want to give this message to the fathers and mothers.
Sebelum kita bereaksi sekeras apapun dengan pasangan kita,
Before you react towards your partner,
sebelum kita pribadi mengambil keputusan apa-apa dengan pasangan kita,
before you take any decision with your partner,
pikirkan anak-anak dulu.
you need to think about the children.
Setuju?
Do you agree?
Mereka tidak pernah minta untuk dilahirkan.
They never asked to be born.
Pernahkah ada anak-anak sebelum lahir buat proposal ke papa mamanya, lahirkan saya dong? Gitu.
Have you ever heard of a child before they were born, they put a proposal to their parents and say, hey, can I be born please?
Ketika mereka tidak minta untuk dilahirkan,
But even though they didn't ask to be born,
ketika mereka tidak minta untuk dilahirkan,
when they didn't ask to be born,
lalu mereka ada,
and suddenly they appear,
dan kita sakiti mereka,
and we hurt them,
itu sakitnya dalam sekali.
that hurts very deeply.
Karena aku nggak minta untuk kamu lahirkan,
I never asked to be born,
kenapa kamu sakiti aku?
but why are you hurting me?
Saya katakan lagi,
I'll say this again.
anak-anak bisa tersakiti dengan gurunya, dengan temannya, dengan siapa saja.
A child can be hurt by his teacher, by his friends, by other people.
Tapi yang paling sakit, yang melahirkan mereka yang menyakiti.
But the deepest hurt that they'll experience is from the parents that gave birth to them.
Karena mereka nggak minta untuk dilahirkan.
Because they never asked to be born.
Maka itu suami istri buang dusta.
So husband and wife, you need to throw away lies
Supaya kita nggak saling menyakiti.
so that you don't hurt each other.
Kita tinggalkan dulu Efesus 4.
So we'll leave Ephesians 4.
Hanya ada satu cara untuk tidak berdosa suami istri.
There is only one way to not lie to each other.
Kejadian 2:25.
In Genesis 2,
Ayat 25.
verse 25,
Kejadian 2:25.
Genesis 2:25. Now the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame.
Pertama saya belajar ayat ini saya tertawa pada Papa di surga.
So when I first learned this verse, I laughed.
Kenapa saya tertawa?
Why did I laugh?
Saya bilang, Papa nggak usah diberitahu mereka itu telanjang. Semua kami sudah tahu kalau Adam dan Hawa itu telanjang.
I said to God, Father, you don't need to tell us that they're naked. We all know that they were naked.
Sebab zaman mereka kan belum ada pabrik tekstil.
Because there wasn't textile manufacturers back then.
Pasti mereka telanjang dong.
So they would be naked.
Lalu kenapa Papa bicara memberitahu kita bahwa mereka telanjang?
So why did the Father speak to us and tell us that they were naked?
Yang kedua saya mikir,
Then I started thinking,
oh mungkin soal seks.
maybe he's talking about sex.
Ternyata tidak.
But no.
Lalu soal apa?
So what is this verse actually about?
Luar biasa Roh Kudus menerangkan kepada saya.
And the Holy Spirit brought this to me.
Kata telanjang untuk suami istri.
The word for naked between husband and wife,
Lagi sekali hanya untuk suami istri.
only for husband and wife,
Tidak boleh dipakai untuk yang lain-lain. Untuk suami istri.
not
Catat
to
itu.
be used for others, but only husband and wife.
Ada dua arti yang Papa maksudkan.
There's two meanings that the Father
Yang
has.
pertama keterbukaan suami istri.
It means openness between husband and wife.
Kalau suami istri terbuka,
If husband and wife are open,
tidak akan ada dusta.
there needs to be no lies.
Maka itu kalau kita sudah menikah,
So if we are married,
tidak boleh ada rahasia yang kita sembunyikan terhadap pasangan kita.
there should be no secrets that we keep from our partners.
Kata telanjang,
The meaning of naked,
tidak ada satupun bagian yang kita tutup.
not one part is covered.
Setuju saudara?
You agree?
Maka itu selama saudara menikah,
So as long as you are married,
uang di bank masing-masing nggak pernah saling tahu jumlahnya. Awas itu.
money in each other's own private accounts that the other doesn't know about, that's dangerous.
Saya minta yang mendengar kebenaran ini,
So if you're listening to this truth,
hati-hati.
you be careful.
PIN ATM saudara harus saling tahu.
You should know each other's ATM pin.
Jangan tiap 2 jam ganti ATM, ganti PIN, nganggur itu.
Don't change your pin every 2 minutes or 2 hours.
Awas. Tuhan Yesus berkata begini,
Jesus said this.
sebab di mana ada apamu, di situ ada apamu. Sebab di mana ada di situ ada apa? Yesus berkata. Oh, oke. Sebab di mana ada hartamu, di situ ada hatimu. Sorry John, sudah lama nggak pulang Indonesia.
So where your treasure is, there your heart will be.
Masih ingat firman itu?
You remember that word?
Saya ulangi lagi ya. Yesus berkata,
So Jesus said,
sebab di mana ada uangmu, di situ ada hatimu.
so where your money is, there your heart will be.
Sekarang kalau suami istri uangnya pisah,
Now if husband and wife have separate money,
hatinya
what about their hearts? Separate as well.
apa artinya menikah hatinya pisah?
So what does it mean to be married but with separate hearts?
Divorce, sudah cerai itu.
That means divorce.
Hati-hati.
So you need to be careful.
Biasanya orang Tionghoa yang begini nih.
A lot of the Chinese people are like this.
Kalau saya konseling pernikahan
When I'm counseling couples, married couples,
sebelum menikah ya, konseling pranikah,
pre-marriage counseling,
maka orang tua mereka saya akan libatkan.
I will involve the parents of the couple that are going to be married,
Khususnya tentang harta.
especially about money.
Saya akan tanya begini kepada papa mama mereka.
And I will ask the parents,
Nanti bapak ibu akan memberikan sesuatu enggak kepada anak?
will you be giving something to your children?
Oh iya, karena itu anak kami.
Of course, because that's my child.
Saya tanya yang kedua.
So I ask the second thing,
Itu nanti untuk dia atau untuk mereka?
will that be for your child or will it be for both of them?
Ngerti pertanyaannya?
Do you understand my question?
Apa tujuan saya tanya itu?
What's the reason I ask that?
Karena banyak orang tua sebelum anaknya menikah,
Because a lot of parents, before their children are married,
pesan dulu, nanti hartamu pisah ya.
so they say to their children, your money needs to be separate.
Kalau orang tua berkata, oh enggak, kami hanya beri ke anak kami saja, bukan untuk ke keluarganya.
If a parent says to me, oh no, we're just giving it to our child, not to the family.
Maka saya bilang kepada anak itu,
So I say to the child,
papa mamamu akan memberi sesuatu kepada kamu.
so your father and your mother will be giving you something.
Tapi terimalah, kemudian kembalikan lagi.
Accept that, but give it back.
Karena bukan untuk kalian, cuma untuk kamu.
Because I said it's not for both of you, it's just for you.
Saya tanya, kalau kita orang tua,
I ask you, if we are parents,
sebelum menikah kita pesan itu pada anak kita,
before marriage we say this to our children,
maksudnya apa?
what's the meaning of that?
Orang tua yang mau menikahkan anak, tapi sudah mikir harta pisah,
Parents that are going to let their children get married but are already thinking about separate money,
alasan utamanya apa?
the
Ayo, cepat
main
jawab.
reason, what is it?
Berarti mereka sudah mempersiapkan perceraian anak-anaknya.
They are already preparing the divorce of the children.
Saya marah kepada mereka.
And I really get upset with this.
Betapa jahatnya kalian dua.
That is really bad.
Anak belum menikah, kamu persiapkan perceraiannya.
Before the children are married, but you're already preparing their divorce.
Jahat nggak itu, saudara?
That's evil.
Nah, maka itu orang tua nggak boleh ikut campur di rumah tangga anak.
So parents, you are not allowed to meddle in the family of
Jadi
your
harus
children.
telanjang suami istri.
The husband and wife must have openness naked.
Suami istri yang lagi berdua,
The husband and wife that are together,
lalu ada telepon bunyi, mobilnya salah satu bunyi.
then one of the mobiles ring.
Tidak boleh berkata, sorry ya, aku minggir dulu. Awas.
You shouldn't be saying, hang on just 1 second, I'll just move away.
Pasangan kita harus dengar apa yang kita bicarakan dengan orang itu di telepon.
Our partner should be able to hear what we are talking about on the phone.
Setuju?
Do you agree?
Pokoknya suami istri nggak boleh ada rahasia.
No secrets.
Telanjang.
Naked.
Waktu ke WC, handphone nggak boleh dibawa.
When you go to the toilet, you can take your mobile phones.
Izinkan pasangan kita membaca semua isi SMS, WhatsApp, dan semuanya.
But let your partner read everything, your SMSs, your WhatsApp.
Kok nggak amin ini?
Why is there no amen?
Nggak boleh ada rahasia. Saudara.
No secrets.
Bayangkan ini baru kejadian pasal 2.
This is in Genesis 2 only.
Kan baru awal-awal itu.
So this is the very beginning.
Tetapi papa sudah pesan sejelas ini.
But the father already gives this strong message.
Suami istri telanjang.
Husband and wife, naked.
Suami nggak boleh berkata pada istrinya, istri nggak boleh berkata pada suaminya.
A husband cannot say to the wife, and the wife cannot say to a husband,
Kata ini,
this word.
kamu nggak usah banyak tanya, kamu coba ngerti sendiri. Aku mau apa?
You don't need to ask questions, just you should know, you should understand.
Ini peramal atau apa?
They're not
Fortune
mind
teller.
readers, fortune
Iya.
tellers.
Awas suami istri bilang begitu ya.
You husband and wife, you should not be saying that.
Kira-kira ada nggak pernikahan model begitu?
But are there marriages like that?
Banyak.
There's a lot.
Pernah satu kali ada ilustrasi bagus.
One day, I'll give you an illustration.
Suami istri ini nggak pernah bicara karena ribut terus.
A husband and wife never spoke to each other because
Jadi-
they always had
Jadi kalau ada apa-apa mesti pakai surat.
arguments. So they
Nulis.
always had to write letters.
Dulu belum ada SMS.
Back then, there wasn't any SMSs.
Nah, malam itu sebelum tidur suaminya pesan kepada istrinya.
So that night, the husband wrote a message.
Bangunkan aku 4:30 karena besok aku harus naik pesawat yang jam 7.
So he wrote and said, "Wake me up at 4:30 because I have to get on a 7 o'clock plane."
Ya, akhirnya istrinya nulis. Begitu jam 4:30 dia bangun, dia nulis.
So at
4:30.
4:30, the wife woke up and she wrote a message.
Ya, jam 4:30 bangun.
At 4:30, she woke up.
Ya, jadi tulisannya bilang bangun sudah jam 4:30.
Oh, she wrote, "Wake up, it's already 4:30."
Ternyata suaminya terlambat bangun, jam 7 dia baru bangun.
So the husband woke up at 7 o'clock
Wah, dia marah-marah.
and he
Saudara.
was really angry.
Kenapa kamu nggak bangunkan aku?
Why didn't you wake me up?
Istri bilang,
The wife said, read.
Ngerti ilustrasi itu?
Do you understand?
Di mana ada ketidakjujuran, ada rahasia antara suami istri,
Where there is secrets between husband and wife,
pasti akan ada setan di situ.
there will be the devil in that situation.
Sebab iblis itu senang yang ditutup-tutupi.
Because the devil loves things that are covered up.
Almari atau meja nggak pernah kita angkat seminggu saja,
If you never lift up
sesuatu lah yang tutupnya.
a table, the cover,
Di bawah ada apa?
what will be underneath?
Ada kotoran.
There will be dirt.
Rumah tangga yang tidak terbuka,
A house, a marriage that is not open,
maka ada kotoran yang di bawah yang ditutupi itu.
there will be dirt under the covers.
Betul tidak, saudara?
Is that right?
Jadi firman ini luar biasa.
So this is an amazing word.
Suami istri belajar jujur satu dengan yang lain.
Husband and wife, be open, transparent towards each
Supaya
other.
nggak ada dusta.
So that there is no lies.
Hal yang kedua tentang telanjang,
The second thing about naked
ternyata tentang komunikasi.
speaks of communication.
Saudara, zaman ilmu perang, hukum perang sampai hari ini,
The law of war, even until today,
sebelum negara A menyerang negara B,
before country A attacks country B,
maka yang perlu ditaklukkan daerah komunikasi dulu.
the first thing to destroy is communication.
Betul? Jaringan telepon, lapangan terbang, semua ditaklukkan dulu.
The communication, telecommunication, and the airports, they'll destroy that first.
Ayo, kenapa hukum perang itu berlaku sampai zaman ini? Maksudnya apa?
Why does that law apply now, even until now?
Ayo cepat. Masa saudara nggak ngerti, walaupun nggak pernah perang tapi ngerti lah.
Even though you've never been to war, you should know.
Ayo, kenapa? Saudara harus mikir dulu nih. Kalau saudara bisa mikirin bisa ngerti.
If you can think about it, then you will understand.
Kalau komunikasi ditaklukkan,
If communication is broken,
maka mereka nggak perlu perang pakai senjata.
they won't need to use weapons in the war.
Berarti negara itu sudah lumpuh.
That country already is crippled.
Betul tidak?
Is that right?
Ternyata itu juga cara iblis merusak pernikahan.
And that is the same way that the devil destroys marriage.
Komunikasi diputus oleh iblis.
Communication is broken by the devil,
Sehingga nggak ada komunikasi.
so there's no communication between husband and wife
Karena tidak saling mengampuni.
because there is no forgiveness.
Kenapa kucing dan anjing bertengkar terus?
Why does a cat and a dog always fight?
Saya dulu pikir ada setannya dua ekor ini, ribut saja.
I thought they had devils in them, demons.
Ternyata enggak, mereka itu enggak punya penterjemah, saudara.
But no, it's not that. The two of them don't have a translator.
Anjing dan kucing itu bahasanya pada ekornya, lihat aja.
So the language of a dog and a cat is in their tail.
Betul?
Is that right?
Kalau anjing lagi senang hati, bagaimana?
If a dog is really happy, what do you see?
Anjingnya goyang, ekornya goyang.
The tail, he wags, it wags its tail.
Ternyata beda dengan kucing.
But it's different to cats.
Kucing itu kalau marah ekornya goyang.
For a cat, if they're angry, it will wag its tail.
Nah, pagi-pagi anjing lihat kucing dari jauh, ekornya goyang-goyang.
So in the morning, the dog sees the cat from far away, and it sees the tail wagging.
Anjing mikir, ada teman baru itu.
So the dog thinks, well, I got a new friend here.
Tapi kucing tersinggung.
But the cat got very upset.
Siapa itu pagi-pagi nantang karena ekornya goyang-goyang?
Who's that? Early in the morning, and he's picking a fight.
Karena nggak ada penterjemah.
Because there was no interpreter between the two.
Maka itu mereka perang.
That's why they've got this animosity towards each other.
Saudara, maka itu ayat ini luar biasa.
So this is why it's an amazing verse.
Setuju sekarang?
Do you agree?
Saya minta demi kasih Kristus,
So I ask you, for the love of Christ,
supaya tempat tidur kita Yesus betah bertakhta di situ,
so that Jesus would continue to reign in our marriage bed.
terbukalah satu dengan yang lain.
Be open towards each other.
Jangan ada rahasia apa-apa.
Do not keep secrets.
Wah, bahaya, suamiku tuh minta ngabisin duit. Oh, dia tahu duitku berapa habis nanti.
Oh, but that's dangerous. If my husband knew how much money I had, he'd spend it all.
Siapa suruh kawin dengan orang itu?
So, who told you to marry him?
Masa dari dulu nggak kenal?
You didn't know him before you married him?
Maaf saya ngomongin.
Sorry, I'm just joking around.
Ayat 24 masih Kejadian 2.
So, still in Genesis 2, verse 24,
Luar biasa ini, saudara.
it says, "This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one."
Saya juga tertawa pertama baca ayat ini.
So, when I first read this, I was laughing as well.
Kepada Papa, kenapa disampaikan?
To the father, I said, well, why are you saying this?
Ini firman untuk siapa pertama kali?
Who was this word addressed to?
Adam dan Hawa.
Adam and Eve.
Bukankah mereka adalah pernikahan pertama di dunia nggak punya orang tua dan nggak punya mertua?
They are the first couple that married and they had no parents-in-law.
Loh, betul tidak? Untuk siapa dia ngomong?
So, to who was this addressed?
Ternyata untuk kita.
So it's for us.
Saya pakai psikologi.
I'm thinking psychologically.
Arti ayat ini,
The meaning of this verse,
setelah kita menikah,
after we marry,
orang tua tidak boleh ikut campur lagi ke keluarga kita.
parents should not meddle in the family business.
Itu yang dimaksud oleh Papa.
That's what the father means by this.
Yang disebut immediate family
What is called immediate family
hanya suami, istri, dan anak-anak.
is only husband, wife, and children.
Orang tua, kakak, adik sudah outsider, di luar.
Parents, brothers, sisters, they're outside of that family.
Jangan pernah dilibatkan lagi.
So don't meddle in their business.
Orang Asia sangat sulit menggenapi ini.
This is very difficult for Asians.
Setuju tidak?
Do you agree?
Nah, maka itu kalau saya konseling pranikah,
That's why when I do a pre-marriage counseling,
orang tua pun saya akan bacakan ayat ini.
I read this verse to parents.
Begini psikologinya.
This is a psychology.
Kalau sampai orang tua tahu ada apa-apa di pernikahan kita,
If the parents know that there's something in our marriage,
sesalah-salahnya anak dan sesalah-salahnya menantu, papa mama bela siapa? Ini yang penting.
if whoever's wrong in that marriage, who would the parents support?
Anaknya.
Their child.
Ini yang bahaya, saudara.
This is dangerous.
Secara politik,
Politically,
kenapa hanya 2 orang melibatkan negara,
why is it only 2 people?
melibatkan pemerintah, surat itu?
The
Apa itu?
certificate, marriage certificate, why is it husband and wife and the country, the nation?
Karena setiap keluarga itu satu pemerintahan, negara sendiri.
Because a marriage is one country on its own.
Orang tua, negara tua.
The parents are an old country.
Nah, apa hukum internasional kalau ada negara tetangga nyampurin negara tetangganya?
What's the international law for one country meddling in another country's business?
Apa hukumnya?
What's the law?
Intervensi.
That's called intervention.
Itu namanya perang.
And that is war.
Bayangkan jauh sebelum ada pernikahan di dunia,
So long before there was marriage in the world,
Papa sudah beri hukum ini.
God the Father gave this law.
Orang tua tidak boleh ikut campur rumah tangga anak.
Parents do not meddle in the business of the child's family.
Jadi kalau kita ada kalau kita sebagai orang tua dengar ada apa-apa di keluarga anak-anak kita,
So if as a parents we hear something happening in the marriage of our
kita tidak boleh datang atau telepon mereka, tidak boleh.
we shouldn't come and call them.
Kita hanya boleh berdoa kepada Tuhan.
We should only pray for them.
Nah, maka para gembala gereja yang boleh terlibat dalam masalah itu.
And the pastors of the church should be the ones that are involved.
Ngerti ya sekarang saudara?
Do you understand?
Ini hukum luar biasa.
This is an amazing law.
Tapi secara khusus kepada men, pada laki-laki.
But especially it talks to the men.
Maka itu Tuhan Yesus berkata,
So Jesus said,
belajarlah kepada burung.
learn from the birds.
Dengar anak-anak laki yang belum menikah,
Young men, you who haven't been married yet,
belajar kepada burung.
learn from the birds.
Ternyata burung itu luar biasa pinternya, saudara.
Birds are actually quite smart.
Ternyata tidak ada burung cowok kawin sebelum dia buat sarang dulu.
All the male birds will always make a nest before they get married.
Itu luar biasa.
So that's amazing.
Kenapa? Kok mereka
Why?
bisa pintar begitu?
Why can they be so smart?
Sebab dia nggak bisa bersarang di rambut kita, bukan?
Because he can't make a nest in our head.
Jadi dia buat sarang dulu.
So he goes and makes a nest.
Jadi laki-laki dengar,
So men, listen,
jangan pingin kawin
don't try to get married
sebelum engkau buat sarang dulu.
before you create this nest.
Ini istilah Indonesia ya, saya nggak tahu di Australia pasti nggak ada Indonesia. Oh nggak apa-apa, karena mertuaku kaya, jadi aku nanti tinggal di taman mertua indah. Awas kamu.
So in Indonesian culture, often they say, we'll just stay with the in-laws.
Nggak bisa. Di Australia kan nggak ada hukum begitu, bukan? Mana boleh tinggal sama orang tua setelah menikah? Nggak ada di Australia. Oh ada juga. Oh sekarang mulai katanya John.
And that's starting here in Australia as well.
Nggak lucu. Nggak lucu itu kalau tinggal sama orang tua, laki-laki khusus.
That's not a good way to be, to live with the parents or parents-in-law.
Maka itu gadis-gadis,
So ladies,
saya pesan kepada saudara.
young ladies, I want to give you a message.
Kalau saudara saya yakin cowokmu jadi suamimu nanti,
If you really believe that this man will be your husband,
tanya pertama,
ask the first thing,
sudah punya pintu berapa?
how many doors do you have?
Ngerti maksudnya sudah punya pintu
Do
berapa
you
itu
know
apa?
what I mean by how many doors do you have?
Ayo artinya apa? Cepat. Sudah punya rumah atau belum?
Do you have a house or not?
Karena rumah harus ada pintunya. Kalau enggak masuk dari mana?
Because houses have got to have doors.
Maka itu kalau cowokmu jawab baru beli satu, jangan menikah dulu.
If they say, oh, I've only bought one, then don't get married yet.
Gimana rumah pintu satu itu sih gimana?
If a house only has one door,
Oke, ngerti ya istilah ini? Nah, kita masih bicara tentang a home.
so we are talking about a home.
Jadi semuanya tergantung bagaimana suami istri.
So all of it depends on the relationship between husband and wife.
Kembali ke Efesus 4
So if we return to Ephesians 4,
ayat 26.
Ephesians 4 verse 26,
Ini jamnya kok cepat benar ya?
time is flying.
Saya baru ngomong hampir 1 jam 52 menit ini.
I've only spoken for an hour.
Ada Efesus 4 ayat 26
So
sekarang.
Ephesians 4 verse 26. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry.
Dalam terjemahan King James bagus. Be angry.
In the King James, it actually says, be angry.
Nah, karena pasal 4 kitab Efesus masih bicara tentang pernikahan suami istri,
Because Ephesians 4 is still talking about marriage,
maka ini pun untuk suami istri.
so this is still talking to husband and wife.
Yang belum menikah
To those of you who are not yet married,
tidak boleh marah.
don't be angry.
Kalau saudara ingin marah, menikah dulu.
If you want to get angry, you should get married first.
Karena firman Tuhan yang sudah menikah boleh marah.
Because the word of God to people who are married says they can be angry.
Maka itu bilang be angry.
It says, be
Silakan
angry.
marah, silakan marah.
Be angry, that's all right.
Tapi jangan sampai lewat matahari terbenam.
But do not let the sun go down.
Saya mikir, mengapa Papa memberi hukum suami istri boleh marah tapi hanya sampai matahari terbenam?
So I started thinking, why does the Father in heaven say that we're allowed to get angry but not past the sun going down?
Ternyata kalau kita lihat sudah matahari terbenam itu kan malam.
Because if the sun has gone down, it's nighttime.
Nah, kalau malam waktunya kita naik ke tempat tidur.
Nighttime is the time that we go to our beds.
Ingat tempat tidur ada siapa tadi?
Remember, who's on the bed?
Tuhan Yesus.
Jesus Christ.
Karena aku hadir di situ.
Because I am present there.
Kalau kita sudah menikah,
If we are married,
tidak ada pengampunan yang tadi kita sudah bahas,
and there is no forgiveness like what we discussed,
maka kita dua naik ke tempat tidur,
so when the two of us go to bed,
satu ngadap utara, satu ngadap selatan, cuma ketemu pantatnya saja.
one faces north, one faces south, so they're just backs to each other.
Harmonis nggak seperti itu?
Is that a harmonical,
No.
is that peaceful marriage?
Apa yang terjadi kalau kita naik ke tempat tidur, matahari sudah terbenam, tidak saling mengampuni? Apa yang terjadi?
What happens if the sun goes down but we haven't yet forgiven each
Dan
other?
kita sudah naik ke tempat tidur,
And we are on our beds.
ayat 27 menakutkan.
Verse 27 is scary. For anger gives a foothold to the devil.
Terjemahan bagus, New Living Translation. Kemarahan yang tidak diselesaikan memberikan iblis nginap di rumah kita.
An unresolved anger opens the door for the devil to stay in our house.
Apa bahasa Inggris?
Foothold.
Footholds. Punya benteng di rumah kita.
There is a foothold, a stronghold there.
Ayatnya nggak ada, cuma saya percaya.
There's no verse that says this, but I believe this.
Kalau satu malam iblis kita undang nginep di rumah kita,
If for one night we invite the devil to stay at our house,
iblis itu kalau punya anak lebih cepat dari nyamuk, saudara.
the devil has kids quicker than mosquitoes.
Ngerti maksudnya?
Do you understand what I mean?
Jadi kalau malam ini kita nggak berdamai dan iblis nginep di rumah kita,
So if tonight we don't have peace and we don't have forgiveness and the devil comes and stays at our house,
besok kita bangun,
tomorrow when we wake up,
iblis sudah punya grandchildren.
the devil already has grandchildren.
Bukan cuma cucu saja.
Not just grandchildren,
Great grandchildren.
great grandchildren they have
Dalam satu malam.
in one night.
Bayangkan kalau ada suami istri sudah sekian belas kali matahari terbenam,
So imagine a husband and wife has had many suns going down on them.
kira-kira setannya sudah sebanyak apa itu?
How many demons are there?
Betul? Siapa yang mereka ambil duluan?
So who do they grab first?
Anak-anak.
The children.
Gara-gara ayat ini saya diskusi dengan para psikolog.
So because of this verse, I was discussing it with psychologists.
Ternyata dalam psikologi itu ada sebuah fakta.
There's a fact known to the psychologists.
Orang yang marah tapi dipendam, disimpan,
A person that keeps their anger
itu efeknya jelek kepada kesehatannya.
has a bad effect on their health.
Nah, orang yang paling sering tersinggung ternyata suami istri.
And the people who get upset the most are husband towards wives.
Loh, betul tidak, saudara? Betul tidak? Coba tanya,
Is
betul
that
tidak?
right?
Karena bagaimana kita bisa dipukul dalam jarak 3 meter?
So how can you hit someone if they're 3 meters away?
Oh, tangannya sepanjang apa itu?
How long would your hand be?
Jadi dua orang ini yang sering ribut.
So the two people, husband and wife, are the ones that often have fights.
Ternyata dalam bahasa asli perjanjian baru,
And in the original language of the New Testament,
ini tensesnya present continuous tense.
the tense is present continuous tense.
Wow, saya bilang begitu.
I thought, wow.
Wah, berarti enak kalau sudah menikah boleh marah sepanjang hari.
It means that if I'm married, I can continue to be angry the whole day.
Nah, sekarang sudah mulai winter, awas.
So now it's winter.
Jadi matahari lebih cepat terbenam daripada summer.
The sun goes down quicker.
Oke, dengar itu
So
baik-baik.
you listen to me.
Jadi pagi-pagi marahlah.
So in the morning you get married, you get angry. Sorry.
Tapi begitu, ya begitu mulai terbenam,
But when the sun goes down,
aduh sorry ya, sorry, bener sorry, aduh sorry aku.
ask for forgiveness.
Ya, yang pasangan pun ya oke aku ngampuni kamu.
And you need to forgive your partner.
Semuanya ya berdua. Makan malam, seneng-seneng,
Have dinner,
naik ke tempat tidur.
go to bed,
Aduh bahagia saling mengampuni.
happy because you've forgiven each
Oh,
other.
di kamar tuh boleh kelitik-kelitikan silakan.
You tickle each other.
Iya, kejar-kejaran di kamar silakan.
You run around the.
Tapi
the
jangan
room.
bawa pisau, awas.
But don't go run around with a knife.
Tidur,
Go to sleep.
pagi-pagi bangun.
In the morning you wake up
Gitu.
and you're happy.
Lanjut, mau apa kamu kemarin itu?
Then you can get angry again.
Tirukan dong, John.
What do you want?
Ribut lah dari pagi sampai sore lagi.
So fighting from morning till afternoon,
Begitu marah tidur benam.
and when the sun goes down,
Aduh sorry ya, sorry. Benar.
you ask for forgiveness again.
Itu arti pasal 4 ayat 26.
That's what Ephesians 4 verse 26 actually means.
Ketika para psikolog itu mendengar penjelasan saya,
Now, when these psychologists heard my explanation,
kalau gitu nggak ada perceraian di dunia ini.
they said, If that's the way it works, then there would be no divorce.
Pagi sampai sore boleh marah, pas berdamai lagi, besok lanjut tidak apa-apa.
Because morning till afternoon you can be angry, and then in the evening you forgive, and then continue on with the anger the next day.
Ayo, siapa yang rajin bertengkar, awas gak mau berdamai.
So who likes to fight with each other? You need to have peace between you,
Saya
forgiveness.
beritahu saudara,
I want to tell you one thing.
ayat ini yang dipakai oleh iblis
This verse is used by the devil
untuk meruntuhkan home kita.
to destroy our home.
Setuju saya ngomong ini?
Do you agree?
Inilah ayat yang dipakai oleh iblis untuk meruntuhkan, menghancurkan home kita.
This is the verse that is used by the devil to destroy our home.
Anak-anak yang jadi korban lagi.
And the children are the victim.